Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to get over what happened in the past? Original post. So for some background and context, I, 54 female, have one daughter, Ella, 28 female, with my ex, Dylan, 57 male. Dylan and I amicably divorced when Ella was 4 years old. Few years later, I married my now husband, Jack, 55 male. He was a single dad of 2 kids, Jason, 25 male, and Sophie, 27 female. Jack and I also have a daughter, Bella, 17 female. And this story is about Sophie and Ella. I always thought since they were closer to the age, they would get along really well. And I was right. They were like best friends, and we were really happy in our blended family. When Ella was in college, she met this guy, Brian, 30 male, at a cafe where she worked. They started dating, and I was happy for Ella. Brian even proposed to Ella in front of our whole family, and it was very romantic. Everything was fine until one day, Ella came to our house screaming at Sophie. She claims that Sophie has been sleeping with Brian. I told her she must be joking. Sophie would never do that to her. There was a lot of screaming until Sophie finally said that she and Brian are in love, and this caused even more commotion. We did have an extremely hard conversation with Sophie. She showed her remorse and was very guilty. We then tried to talk to Ella that Sophie was sad and maybe she should forgive her. But Ella was having none of it. She went on to more screaming and bashing all of us that we are abandoning her and picking Sophie. That is not the case, as I tried to make it as peaceful as possible, but Ella didn't want that. When Ella and Brian broke up, he started dating Sophie and got engaged within a year. Sophie wanted Ella to be her bridesmaid, but Ella just said, "over my dead body." I thought it was really cruel of her to say that, and she's being petty by holding on to the past anger. Needless to say, she didn't come to the wedding. Rather, she left the city to live with her father. She didn't contact us much except for Bella. I thought she might need some time to cool off, but I was hurt that she kept us out of her life. We only got some insights from Bella and Jason. She only sends me cards on my birthdays but hardly ever spoke to me. I think it was unfair. One day she came to our place. Sophie and Brian were also there. She gave us an invitation card to her wedding with someone named Ray. I don't know much about him. She didn't even include us in the wedding party. Plus, the venue was a 4-hour drive, and the hotels in that area is expensive. We did agree, but at the last moment Jack got sick, and I had to cancel it. When I told her the reason I cannot come to her wedding, she told me to not bother, that she made the right choice by not including me in her wedding, because she knew I was a bad mom. That really bothered me. I always wanted to be by her side, but the place and time she was getting married was just not compatible for us. That was 2 years ago, and she never contacted us again. Then a few weeks ago, my daughter Bella showed me a post on Instagram that Ella was pregnant. She posed with her stepmother with a caption like, "She will be a good grandmother." I was furious. How can she forget her whole family here? So I called her from Bella's phone wanting an explanation. She replied that since I never bothered to be at her wedding, I don't deserve to be in her kid's life. She said it was not just her wedding. She claims I have never been supportive of her, that I do not care about her. She went on to blabbing that she never felt like she had my support, even when she got cheated on, and I chose my stepdaughter over her. I told her it was not fair for her to hold that against me till now, because it was 6 years ago. She has moved on, and Sophie has moved on as well. She is being petty by holding on to something that happened years ago. So did I do anything wrong? Edit. Look, I did not abandon Ella. I tried to be there for her. When she and Brian broke up, I went to her place to support her almost every day. I just think it is silly to hold on to something that happened years ago. I get that she didn't want to be a bridesmaid, but she could have attended the wedding. I never pressured her. Yes, I was disappointed, but if she politely declined, I would have never thought it was cruel. And I tried my best to attend her wedding. We booked the hotel too. But Jack got really sick. We did apologize and promised to make it up to her in some ways, but she rejected it. Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're the a-hole. What Sophie did to Ella was not petty or inconsequential. You shouldn't have supported and forgiven Sophie so easily after her act of betrayal. You're lucky Ella ever kept in touch with you at all. Was Jack really sick? Or was he bitter about Ella not attending his daughter's wedding, so this was an excuse that Opie came up with to justify not going? Why does a grown man need Opie to stay home with him when he's sick? I'm with you, that is a massive BS. How can you even ask if you're the a-hole here? It's pretty obvious, and your daughter spelled it out for you. And I think calling you an a-hole is putting it kindly. You did choose that cheater's side over your firstborn child's, who was the person hurt in the situation. Then fairly quickly you tell her to get over it? This wasn't some puppy love high school situation. They were engaged to be married, and your a-hole of a stepdaughter slept with her stepsister's fiancé. This is some Jerry Springer / Jeremy Kyle garbage. Then you accept the scumbag who cheated on her into her home and supported his and your stepdaughter's relationship. Your emotionally tone-deaf stepdaughter then asks her to be a bridesmaid at her and her own ex's wedding, which should have been hers in the first place if they weren't such a-holes. And you think you have the right to be offended on her saying over her dead body? Let's say your sister screwed your husband and everyone took her side. How would you react? Your daughter rightfully went low/no contact for her own emotional and mental health, offers you an olive branch to attend her wedding. And your husband gets sick, a specified kind of sick might I add, which means likely it wasn't life-threatening or requiring hospitalization. You're butthurt of not being involved in the wedding party, so you decide to skip her wedding and olive branch over ego. You find out after years of no contact she is pregnant and think you have a right to be involved after all that? After you've repetitively put everyone else above your own child in every way. You're not only an a-hole, but delusional, and dare I say a narcissist. I hope she sticks to her guns and stays away from you. Kudos to her for knowing she's worth so much more than the BS you're parading. Why is everyone's feelings, including your own, more important than hers? A-hole. I wonder if Opie was the former mistress to her husband. Mostly people who support cheaters are cheaters themselves. And now for the update. Hi guys, this is Bella, 17 female, the half-sister, and I'm writing this update to clear things out. Basically, this whole argument with Ella being pregnant happened 2 months ago, and there have been fights and crying from my mom's part. I tried my best to explain to her that what she did was over the line, and she cannot expect Ella to be okay with it after my mom hurt her. My mom still insists Ella is being unfair, and she thinks every other person would agree with her, lol. So I gave her just that. I've been on Reddit for 3 years, and I have seen how many people tear apart people like mom. So I told her that she should post it anonymously on Reddit. I did help her in the steps to make sure she includes everything, but she still left out some parts. I challenged her that nobody thinks she's right after the nonsense she pulled. It was hilarious to see my mom reacting to the comments. She genuinely thought people would be on her side, lol. She read the comments for 3 hours. You guys even PM'd her, and those were a cherry on top. Seeing how people actually see her, she literally cried her eyes out. Though she's still in denial and keeps saying they don't know anything. Well, she had a breakdown of how cruel some comments and the PMs are. My dad came home and saw mom crying and scolded me for airing our dirty laundry, and my mom demanded I delete it. Instead, I deleted the Reddit app from her phone, but now I'm writing this for you guys. I must say, Reddit did not disappoint. I have been reading all the comments, and they are entertaining. My mom refuses to look at them. She's a lost cause, but I am here to clear things out a bit. I am the observer of my family, so I have observed a lot of things. First of all, my mom didn't cheat with my dad as far as I know, since some of you were suggesting. The divorce with Ella's dad was amicable, but that's what I heard. My mom has this weird obsession with having twins. She always wanted twin girls, but that never happened. Since Sophie and Ella are almost the same age, my mom pretended that they are twins. I think she created this whole fantasy in her mind that Ella and Sophie will do everything together and have a matching life. And though Ella and Sophie never had a bad blood, they were far from being twins. They were like normal people. But my mom still wanted a twin lifestyle for them. Also, just like you guys pointed out, mom is the type of person who is family comes first. She wanted Ella to forgive everything and be okay with Brian and Sophie, so that mom can show it off to people that in our family, we always forgive and forget, no matter how crappy the other person is. And Ella was ruining that Disney musical fantasy for my mom. My dad only cared about his bio daughters. Though he was never mean to Ella and always loved her, blood comes first to him as well. Jason pretty much doesn't care. He and Sophie were not that close. Neither was Ella and him. I'm close with Ella though. And the only reason I showed that Insta post so that I can show mom what Ella's doing is she always asks me about her life. I thought this would bring some form of accountability from her part. But no, as you can see, I was wrong, and I take full responsibility for it. Second thing, Mom and Dad did berate Sophie about her affair with Brian. Sophie started waterworks, that she will do anything to gain forgiveness from Ella. Sophie even said she will cut off all contact with Brian, but Ella was having none of it. I think my parents got manipulated by the fake waterworks of Sophie. That's why they kept pushing the forgiveness on Ella. And you guys ask what happened to Jack, my dad. Well, he fell down the stairs and hurt his back. I wasn't there because I was a bridesmaid at Ella's wedding, so I was spending the whole week there in her town. Sophie and Brian were not invited. Jason was out of town too. But I still think if Mom made an effort, she could have easily made it to the wedding. She did try to say sorry and offered to pay for their honeymoon, but I don't think that is enough. I mean, it was her daughter, for God's sake. Lastly, my mom lied. Sophie and Brian are not a happy couple. Lol. They look like they're in the brink of divorce. My mom still has no idea that Brian cheated on Sophie with a stripper on his bachelor party. And Sophie forgave him because it was his bachelor party, so it doesn't count. I knew that she also cheated on him at her bachelorette party too. I don't have the evidence, but I just know. A month ago, Sophie decided that she would also try for a baby, and I am willing to bet that Brian will skip town when that happens, or he will not be the father. But we shall see. Also, I am sorry for dragging you guys to my family drama. I just wanted Mom to see that she is wrong. She tried to save her behind by replying, but you guys just tripped her a new one. Sorry if you felt deceived that someone else coerced Opie to make a post. So I am being clear once and for all. The first post was made by my mom. This update is being written by me, Bella, the youngest sibling. If you guys have any questions, I will try my best to answer them. Sometimes mothers really are delusional and don't think about the effects their actions have on their daughters. I hope Ella gets her fairy tale life. She deserves it after everything. Sophie and Brian are perfect for one another. Let them be miserable together. The fact that their marriage lasted 5 years is astonishing, but it is now hanging by a thread. If anything, Brian did Ella a favor. I always thought the guy was a bluff. I wonder if the twin life your mother pushed on Sophie and Ella was the reason for Brian and Sophie cheating together. If their lives were supposed to be identical, and Sophie was jealous that Ella is something she didn't, it sort of makes sense. And Brian is total trash for going along with it. I also hope you are okay. Being caught in this weird middle of family drama is hard. If your mom is anything like mine, having a different opinion than her is almost world-ending. Don't let your mom or Sophie bully you into placating them. Wow, so your mother won't take any accountability for her actions, plays the victim, and just straight up lives in a fantasy. Also, someone should tell Sophie that when a man married his mistress, he created a vacancy. I don't think there is a vacancy in the mistress position anymore, lol. But the option is unlimited. I figured your mom out in her first paragraph, as soon as I saw she had 2 daughters named Ella and Bella. I'm sorry, but your mom is straight trash. The stuff that she's put your sister through, just to keep a fake image for people who are probably some miserable, judgy people, is astonishing. Your mom has no clue that Brian cheated on Sophie? You should tell her. It might help her see the type of person Brian is. It may also help her realize she chose liars and cheaters over Ella. Even better, it'll break the everyone else is happy and has moved on fantasy she has in her head. That's part of the reason why she wants Ella to forgive Sophie and Brian so bad too. She thinks everything is peaches and cream. She needs that fantasy broken. I'm also sure that's not the only time he has cheated on Sophie either. I hope Ella's doing well. She deserves the best and more. Has Sophie seen these? To know what Reddit thinks of her and her stepmom? I don't think so. Mom only uses Reddit to see news and political stuff. She doesn't post in her normal profile, so I created this throwaway just for this reason. Sophie doesn't know, and Mom told me to delete the account and post. But I guess I will have more fun with it now. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not attending my sister's wedding after she almost didn't invite me because I'm under 18? My 17 female sister, 24 female, is getting married in the fall. When she and her fiancé started planning things a few weeks ago, they said it was gonna be no kids. I didn't think anything of that at first. I assumed she meant like 13 plus or something like that. But that was weird though, because she never came to me about anything wedding related like she did with the rest of the family. So last week, I asked her if she needed help with anything and asked if she wanted me wearing a specific dress or something like that. She said no. Why would I? As I'm not going. She explained that no kids means no kids, no exceptions. So I'm too young by 3 months to attend. I was really hurt by that and told our parents. They didn't know I wasn't invited, so my dad told her either she lets me come or she's not getting their half of the money. She did invite me, but she made a big show of how she didn't want me there. So I said screw it, don't bother. Since she don't want me there, I won't be. She just shouldn't expect things to go back to normal after this. We used to be really close, and we text a lot even after she moved out. Not anymore though, as I blocked her and everything and I'm not speaking to her. I don't know if our relationship can recover from this, but if we do, it's gonna be up to her to fix it. My parents say I'm overreacting, but this really hurt me. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. 3 months shy of 18? Nope. Your sister is something else. Let her explain to the whole family why you're not there. You are absolutely not overreacting. I just don't understand why she would do this if you girls actually had a good relationship. Is it just the two of you? Are there any other siblings? If there are, how do they feel about this? Is there a possibility your future brother-in-law doesn't like you? That he could be the reason why she's acting this way? Whatever happens, whether you decide to actually go or not after all her theatrics, keep your head high. You've acted in such a mature way. I hope your parents do not force you into going after all this. Yeah, but the problem now is that Bridezilla can now say, but my sister was invited. She just didn't come because we forgot to put her name on the invite. She'll likely attempt to spin it to avoid looking like a meanie. I accept child-free weddings are a thing, and couples have a right to choose who to attend. But the way this was handled was awful and mean. To not have that discussion and expansion up front. Yeah, nah. Not a-hole for OP. I'd go low contact too. Not a-hole. I understand child-free weddings, but I truly did not understand why she wouldn't invite her sister if you really were that close. She's having the best day of her life, and she is actively telling you you can't be part of it, and can only begrudgingly come because she won't get money if you couldn't? That's selfish and greedy. Is there any reason to consider her fiancé talked her into not making an exception for you? Maybe. He doesn't like me, but he's never come off as controlling or anything. Info. How is your sister reacting to the blocking and cutting contact? I don't really know. My parents say she feels bad, but she hasn't shown up or tried to apologize through them.